Good afternoon, folks, folkettes, and everything in between and beyond. Hit Nation, Fins Nation, Panthers Nation, Inner Miami Nation, or any other nation around the world, because this is going to be a generic recording. This is going to be my Worthless Half a Penny Part 35. My name is Roy, and I am the only host in the history of the internet who wholeheartedly and fully admits that he has no idea what he is talking about. Although, when it comes to this topic, this is not my first rodeo. Sports bets and gambling. Now, I'm going to talk about specifically Price Picks, but there are several applications, several websites out there. It doesn't have to be this, but I'm going to talk about Price Picks, and the screenshots that you will see on your screen are from Price Picks. And the reason that I want to talk about this is because whenever the season resumes, we are a few days away from training camp in the Bahamas. We are a few days away, less than 2 weeks away from the preseason when the videos are going to resume. And when I record those videos, I'm always going to put what my picks are, if any, for that game, for that week. And therefore, I'm going to provide explanations behind the reasoning, if there are any trends to follow, if this is just a soul gut feeling, if you should or not follow my recommendations. But again, there are several social media accounts on X, Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, even on TikTok, where you will find people that will provide you with their what we call picks, right? This is Price Picks. So this everything involves picking players and picking what you think their performance is going to be, if it's going to be better or worse than a given number. That's the main idea. The second part on this video, that's a very important part. When I talk about betting, I use a lot of caution. I play safely because I don't find that this is something interesting to me as addictive. My only thing is that I get to watch games that I wouldn't normally be interested in watching because I have a little bit of a stake there, but not enough of a stake that it would make me lose my mind if I lost. So that's a very important point to drive. It is a slippery slope. It is addictive. It's important to use caution. So play safely. The second point that I want to drive, other than what I just said in terms of playing safely, is that there is a huge difference between investing and betting in sports. Okay, a lot of people think that if they invest in enough sports, they have enough spread, they have enough hedges against one bet against the other, that they're going to be able to consider this an investment. But there is no way to guarantee that you're going to make money, right? The more money you put, the more money you could lose, or the more money you can win. And at the end of the day, what we aim, at least in this recording and at least in this channel, is to break even. Is to make something that I can lose $5 and make $5 and not really lose any money, and still be interested in the reason behind the bets. Money is important, but money in investing comes in many, many different ways. You have a huge resources for investments that you don't really have for gambling and for bets, because even though the future is uncertain with markets, and there are several factors: the weather, interest rates, how a company is doing, how a product is received, so and so forth, the media, there are a lot of factors. There are tools that predict reasonably well how trends are going to be going in a way that basically finance companies make billions of dollars in returns to their stakeholders consistently, because otherwise the stock market just wouldn't be what it is today. So you can't really think that investing is the same as placing bets. And in my opinion, there is a difference between being a sports bettor and a gambler. A gambler does it more consistently. A gambler relies more on that money. If you're just a bettor, you're basically doing what I do, which is, again, your aim is to break even and have some fun and watch games that you normally would not watch. Now, I'm going to give you what my pieces of advice are as it pertains to sports betting in my style and with that objective in mind. And again, I'm going to use Price Picks as a reference. So number one, always bet small. Bet small amounts, and small amounts depend on your financial situation. If for you a small amount is $100, good for you. For me, a small amount is $5. So if I have 15, I'm going to use that for 3 bets, and I'm going to wait for the right time to place those bets. and I'm not just going to randomly place those bets just for fun. I'm going to wait on the right time, and I'm going to place smaller bets to make smaller returns, smaller payouts, but at the same time, it's much safer. And again, I wouldn't stress so much if I lose $5, and then I don't have to put any more money. But I would stress if I lost 10, 20, 30. I don't want to get to that point. But this is my financial situation. I think it's obvious. In any case, that is my first advice. My second advice is whenever you're registering to one of those websites or apps, always look at the social media, sports entertaining, sports commentators accounts, because they are going to have different codes that you can use, but you can only use them once when registering. So for example, for me, it's Price Picks. You can see my code on the screen right now, but my code is not going to get you a lot. I don't believe. I think it's going to be around $25, but you can also use code 5 from 5 Reasons Sports and get 50. I don't mind. I would love for you guys to use mine just as a show of support, but you can get more house money, which I'm going to talk about, house or arena money, the way they call it in Prize Picks, bonus money, basically, for you to bet, not be able to withdraw, but for you to just be able to place more bets, again, for fun. So once you get that, you deposit $10, but you get an extra $25. You can use that money to place bets as opposed to your own money. And so if you make money with those bets, you can withdraw that money in most cases and be happy with it. And so instead of just, okay, I got 25, let's put 25 in one bet. No, make 5 bets, right? And I'm going to explain how my bets go. So again, reviewing: number 1, play small. Number 2, look for a code or use mine before registering to any one of those places, because even though the house is going to give you some money, those codes are normally going to give you more money. Number 3, always look for promotions. And what I mean by promos is in Prize Picks, there are a few ways to do it. And the most important thing is that most promotions are going to give you arena or house money, which is the money that you want to place bets without using your own. Your own is withdrawable. That one is not, but you can use to place more bets and to perhaps make more money. Those promotions come in many different ways. Initially, for example, the code, that's a promotion in and of itself. And there are promotions, for example, as it pertains to Flex Fridays and Prize Picks. You can there are sometimes from $5 to $20 protected place. So you can place a bet. You are going to have to use your money to place that bet. And if you lose the bet, you lose that money, but that money goes back into your house or bonus money, which you can use to place another bet in the future. You can't withdraw, but you can use to place another bet in the future. There sometimes are going to be collective groups who are going to be releasing their picks. And if you use their picks, you're going to be able to get a share of that money. Without using your money, you're going to be able to get a share of that money. Or investing a little bit of your money in it, it's a little bit more certain because more people put their heads and put their researches in. Although, as we are going to talk about, or just now, okay, doing more research does not guarantee anything. A lot of people even say that the more research they do, the worse they do. And so that's something to take into consideration as well. However, those are part of promotions. Sometimes they're going to basically give you just arena money. You just look, if you want in on this, place this bet, use whatever your criteria are, and then basically just place this bet. And if you lose, you don't lose anything. But if you win house money, meaning you can't withdraw that. And that's the one that I'm kind of riding right now, because I made a guess on 3 WNBA players with house money. I cannot withdraw the winnings of $125, but those $125 I've been using to place small bets, right? I had 25 bets to place, and I still have almost 10 or 11 bets left to place just on house money. Another one that gave me $16 was with Jalen Hurts, right? It was a more or less past yards, and you just had to place a bet worth $20. Again, I used $20 from house money for that, not my money. And it was basically you lose or you win that bet. So you lose those $20, but you're going to get a share of If it makes more, it was a certain amount of money. If it makes less, it was a certain amount of money. I made $16 extra just with that. And whenever I have also the protected plays, right? You can use your money, but the money, if you lose the bet, the money goes back and you can place the bets again. There are several types of promotions. There's also gimme promotions, Taco Tuesdays. Gimme promotions, basically, for example, right now, Caleb Williams is a first round pick. High expectations with him with the Bears. It's going to start being in October, probably around 200 to 115 yards. It's going to be his target, so you have to bet whether or not it's going to be passing more or less than 160 to 100 to 115 yards. Right now, it's at 0.5. If he makes one pass yard, you win that money. The only risk is if it doesn't play. Otherwise, you're good to go. So that's going to be basically a gimme. Another one is Taco Tuesdays. There's usually going to be one or two players that are going to have the taco sign on Prize Picks, and you're going to be able to make a choice on whether to place a bet there because that's a given. But you have to have a minimum of two players in your lineup. The way that it works in terms of the picks, Prize Picks again, right, is that you're going to create a lineup with players. You can use different sports. You can use it across the NBA, the WNBA, the NFL, tennis, soccer. There are several other categories there. And in my case, the bets that gave me the most money were bets that were across different sports, right? Across WNBA, NFL, and soccer. And I bet on the NFL because of the gist, because the gist is the same. Understanding the basic ideas of the NFL is kind of enough for you to go with your gut and still make money. The most frustrating loss that I had, which I only basically got my money back because it kind of fell bad for me, was the one with last week that I had a five people lineup, including a less on pass yards from C.J. Stroud, a more for field goals from a guy that doesn't normally get field goals. And I had Jeff Sanders as a minimum of 2 field goals, and he only scored one, and that was the only field goal scored, the only points that the Dolphins made. So it was really heartbreaking, but that was my most notable loss. I don't think I'm going to ever forget this particular loss. The other ones, if you get 2 out of 3, that's fine. But again, you're going to pick a lineup. The lineup cannot repeat the same player in the same lineup with different categories. You have to choose a minimum of 2 players from different teams if you're choosing just the NBA or WNBA or NFL. But it's always safe to go across and see what your knowledge is. Look at the trends. FanDuel is great for trends. You can also use FanDuel to bet. I'm not familiar with how FanDuel is in terms of betting, but I do know that they give you a lot of stats. So if you upload and if you go as if you're going to place a bet, that's a recommendation from my friend Dante, Donte. By the way, that's how it's correctly spelled. I had this last video, and he was adamant that I spell it correctly. Basically, what you want to do is to again, right, play smart, place smaller bets, pick the correct lineups. Again, you're gonna do 2 lineups, 2-player lineups, for example, 3-player lineups. Smaller lineups are also good, so that's another recommendation, right? So play small, use promos when registering, look for promos throughout your betting, so you can use as much house money as possible, and do smaller lineups as well. You don't have to do 5 or 6 player. I think you have a possibility of doing 6, but it's mostly 5-player lineups. You don't have to choose 5 across different sports. You can choose 3 across different sports or the same sports. Again, right, the one that I won, I think the most money were with different lineups, but the one that I won the most house money was just with the WNBA, specifically with the WNBA, because that was the request, right? Bet on at least 3 WNBA players. I did it minimum of 3 WNBA players, and I got $125 for house money. So again, recommended. And also you have on Prize Picks and different versions and different websites and apps, the green and the red goblins. The green goblins mean safer bets, meaning a player that normally gets 7 assists a game, is that player going to get more than 5 assists that game? So you're going to put yes, because that's a safer bet. That's a green goblin. Red goblin is a quarterback going to get 40 yards rushed, right? Which I, by the way, did stupidly a couple of times. But that's what bets are. That's why I bet small, so I don't kick myself so much when I make those stupid decisions, because those decisions are purely made on gut feelings, especially not understanding the NFL as well as I should if I wanted to place bets on it. But I do understand enough of the WNBA enough of soccer and enough of the NBA and other sports to place those bets as I've placed throughout my life. But again, always minor, always small, always contained, and always following those tenets, right? You can make different combinations of red, green, and just regular bets. So this way you have safer, riskier, and regular. So the payouts could be a little bit different, and maybe you can get a little bit more money with a little bit more risk, but not so much that you put everyone is a red goblin, so that you have, it's a almost impossible kind of scenario, which I did again more than a couple of times, but it's okay because I play small. So again, right? Play small. Use promotional codes to get into your apps or websites. Use promos from those websites so you can get as much house money to play on your own. Do smaller lineups across different sports or the same sport. Always look for trends, but research is not guaranteed. This is a game of luck. And number 5, make a combination of safe and risky bets so your payouts can be small. Sometimes you just want to play safe. You want to put 5 and get 17 back or 15 back. Well, that's why not, right? It's still $15 back, $15 that you made out of $5. And that's a great way for you to place a couple more bets, or just take that money out and get yourself a beer or something like that. In any case, this is it for me. We'll catch up in the preseason. That's going to be the next time that I record. Have a great time. Until then, everyone, let's go Heat, vai Corinthians, and everybody's version of whatever it is that I just said. Bye-bye.